YouTube family? Welcome back to another episode of 2A-N-LA. As always, anything that I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes is just my personal opinion. You should not take it as fact. You should not take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. All right? So look, let's get this rolling. All right, this episode is about lasers on guns. If you guys have seen my gun collection video, you guys know that I have laser-like combos on many of my weapons. For example, here's my PX4 Storm here, and I do have a laser, and hopefully you guys can see that. Now, a lot of people, there's a lot of kind of dissenting arguments about lasers. Some people say, you know, with the advent of red dots and things of that nature on handguns, that lasers have kind of, they're kind of dated technology. They've outgrown their usefulness. I don't know about that. So that's one of the arguments. The other argument is, oh, well, lasers give away your position. I think relative to the second argument, I think a lot of that has been debunked. Can a laser give away your position? Potentially, but it's a long stream. It's a lot of times very difficult. Maybe you can get a general direction, but in terms of getting sights directly on you at night, I think that it's not as easy as one would seem. I remember Gun Guy TV did an entire episode based on this theory, and from his backyard in several different positions, you know, he showed that at night the laser doesn't necessarily give away your position, that it's not a given, certainly. And really, it's kind of difficult to do. So he debunked that a little bit. The other thing is that lasers, oh, they're not effective during the day. Again, that was another thing that was kind of debunked in this video, that in most instances, lasers are visible at night or day. And so if we kind of get rid of the narrative that they give your position away and they're not effective in daytimes, and you're talking about, you know, red dot versus laser. First of all, I don't think that's an either or scenario. Many of my guns have red dots and weapons like that have laser systems on them. And so I don't think necessarily that it's one or the other. And if you guys know, because we've talked about it before, and certainly if you have a red dot on your weapon, you know that red dots require training too. A lot of times it's difficult to pick up the red dot. There's a lot of people who don't like red dots on their guns because of that. It does require a level of training to get accustomed to using the red dot. And if you're not proficient at it, you're putting your life at risk. So for all those people who are like, oh, red dot, red dot, red dot, okay, you better train, you better be prepared, you better be highly proficient with that red dot, because it's more than just something cool to put on the top of your gun. If it's there to save your life potentially, you better be able to use it proficiently. And in terms of operation, it's a lot easier, in my opinion, to put a laser on a target than to find the red dot quickly, locate it, assess it, and put it on target. Much easier to kick on a light and just point the laser. And again, I'm not saying this should be an either or proposition. I'm just saying for those people who are kind of red dot fans and anti-laser because they think that red dots are so much better, I think that there's an argument to be made that red dots are better, but they also require a significant amount of training to get highly proficient using one. And so when you think about it, That's the case for guns too, right? You have to put a lot of hours and a lot of training into being proficient with your firearm, and now you've added a component to your firearm that ultimately may benefit you to make you more proficient, but is going to require additional training as well, right? And even if you've got a red dot, if you aren't gripping the gun properly, if the red dot isn't going to help you. So you have to be proficient with both. You got to be proficient with running your gun, and you have to be proficient with running your gun with the red dot on it. In my opinion, the training time for a laser is a lot less than the training time for a red dot, in my opinion. Okay, and again, I don't necessarily think that this is an either or situation. There is nothing wrong with having a red dot and then having a weapons light with a laser on it as a backup. You know, the more backup to the backup, the better served you're likely to be, right? And so here's the one thing that I will say that I think that people in this discussion are not saying a lot of the time, is that a lot of times we are forced, I shouldn't say we, people are forced to fire from positions that are non-traditional. And what I mean by that, it's one thing to go to the firing range, and this goes back to training a lot, right? Look, if you're just getting into shooting, if you just bought your first gun 18 months ago, the first thing you need to be able to do is just shoot, right? You need to understand how to grip a gun, how to put it on target, all right? Fundamental, and be able to hit within a reasonable proximity of where you're aiming, right? That is the very, very basics. It's the beginning of it all. It doesn't matter. All these other things don't matter if you can't do that. You have to have building blocks, right? And so, but, you know, again, I've heard a lot of instructors say this. If you're in a gunfight, that's not how a gunfight is going. That's not how a gunfight is going to go, right? You're not going to be sitting up there like you're on a shooting range with totally exposed with nothing but time to put the gun. No. In all likelihood, you're going to have to be moving. And so you need to learn how to accurately move, right? There may be a time where you actually need to do a reload. So you need to be skillful at reloading your weapon, particularly if you're in California or some other place where you've got limited capacity magazines, right? And so you need to know how to shoot on the move. You need to know how to shoot with one hand. Something may happen. You get injured with one hand. You need to be able to shoot with your left hand. You need to be able to shoot with your right hand. You need to understand how to do tactical, quick reloading. You need to practice that constantly. And you need to practice it constantly with, you know, your weapons that you have bought for that purpose, right? And so I say that to say that the circumstances that you're going to be in, if you actually have to engage and utilize your weapon, oftentimes are not going to be fully upright, you know, wide open, being able to track your gun. Number one, people are going to be able to shoot back. You're going to want to have some kind of concealment, if not some kind of cover, right? And so because of that, a lot of times a laser will allow you more than a red dot to get the target in your sights, right? To put a round on target. You can be laying on the ground, facing up. You can be tilted. You can just be peeking over the top of cover or whatever the case may be. It's a lot easier to just put that red dot on that laser on target than trying to get it through a red dot sight. It just is. And so, I think if you're a new gun owner or you're an experienced gun owner, and a lot of times we hear people talking and chirping about, oh, you should do this, you should do that, this isn't effective, lasers, or there's no place for a laser. No, I disagree. There is a place for laser. I don't think it's outdated technology. I think there are times and circumstances when lasers can be advantageous for you. I'd also say, and I've heard people like Sean Ryan say this, that lasers make a statement. If somebody's thinking about trying you and you don't want to reveal your position, you don't want to come out from cover, but you want to make a statement, they look down and see a red or a green dot on them, maybe they'll think twice. Maybe that's a statement that maybe, whatever I was about to do is not going to be a good move for me. I'm going to move on. I'm going to retreat, right? And so, a lot of times we say the best way to win a gunfight is not to get in one in the first place, right? And so I think that there is a place for lasers. I think in some instances lasers can make a lot of sense, and you should not listen to people who say, oh, they're outdated technology, they give away your position, red dots are better, there's no reason to have one. There is a reason. They can be advantageous. I'm not saying that you should yank off your red dot and throw on a laser. I don't see why you can't have both. A lot of lasers these days are directly incorporated in the weapons light, so you can have a red dot on your top rail or your slide. And you can have a weapons light with a laser on your side rail or on the bottom rail. And again, now you have a backup depending on the situation. Always better to be more prepared than necessary than less prepared, I'd say. All right, family, that's it for this episode. Again, I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, share. How many of you guys are rocking red dots or lasers on your weapons? Let me know that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Until next time, as always, peace.